I think every week we are tweaking things to make everything just a little bit more perfect for our family, just a little bit more in line with what is working for our flow, our schedule, our energy patterns, and our learning styles. And today I want to show you what we are doing to tweak our math program to make it fit us a little bit better. Hi, my name is Becky and I'm the homeschooling mom of twins. I have twin girls who just turned 6 and we are doing first grade in our second year of homeschooling. I also have 2 older step kiddos who have been publicly schooled their entire journey and they are in high school. Today I am showing you what we are doing for our homeschool math for first grade and how we are adjusting it to kind of fit our lifestyle and our homeschool patterns a little bit better. Now I want to start by saying I, like a lot of homeschool moms, am intimidated by math, even elementary math. I was someone who was told repeatedly that math wasn't something girls needed to worry about. Girls were naturally bad at math, where boys were naturally good at math. And so if I struggled, well, that was just sort of my brain setting. Now, I'm an adult and I know that that is nonsense, but I have a lot of that internalized I'm bad at math talk that I am trying to let go, right? It's a limiting belief I'm trying to shake off, not just for my sake, but for my kids' sake, since I have twin girls that I am instructing in mathematics. So I chose to use the Math with Confidence program from Kate Snow and A Well-Trained Mind. And overall, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's a really solid program. And it's a really good program since I don't have the first clue of how to teach math. I also like that it's not a drill and kill method, right? It's not just like memorize, memorize, memorize. It's not dry. It's not just worksheets. It has a lot of experiential math so that they can really understand number sense. And I like that a lot. However, the Math with Confidence program has a lot of steps, and we are trying to get more efficient with our homeschool time. We have a pattern of homeschooling, especially now because we have started our park days on Thursdays, where we homeschool at the table Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They do Thursday away at park day, which is like one day of summer camp a week, basically all through the school year. We love it. It's wonderful. It's one of my work days. We also now have co-op on Fridays, and that's new from last year. Last year, we only did park day on Fridays. This year, we're doing park day on Thursdays and co-op on Fridays, and that basically takes the bulk of the day, both of those days. And definitely in the afternoons, we are absolutely toast from running around and playing and having a great time, that any real deep learning is just not going to happen. So we only have 3 sit-down days to get all of our work accomplished. Now, I knew going into this year, it would mean a math program was going to run a little bit behind because we're going to only do 3 days a week of math, and not all weeks are going to be weeks where I can combine lessons. Not to mention, we had an abysmal first week, and our second week was pretty slow as well, with a lot of review as we tried to first get healthy. We all had head colds. You can still hear a little bit, more than a month out, that I have a little bit of that residual cold. And so we're a little bit behind in math anyway, and I was finding that math became one subject where we were really dragging. We didn't resent it, but we were really incapable of doing it in an efficient amount of time. Now, I've moved away from calling myself a Charlotte Mason homeschooler or a classical homeschooler. I just found that those labels were very limiting for what I could do mentally. Like, you can do whatever you want in your homeschool as long as you follow your state laws, right? But I found them very limiting rather than freeing. And so I now identify as an eclectic homeschooler because I can take the best from all worlds. But I will say I like the Charlotte Mason method and approach of keeping lessons around 10 minutes or so in these younger years. Now, I don't think you can get through a meaningful math lesson in just 10 minutes, but I'm trying to keep it around 15. Beyond 15, my just turned 6-year-olds are beginning to get wiggly and they're having a hard time focusing. So I want to give you a little bit of an overview of what I've been doing. To me, what takes a long time with Math with Confidence is, if you look here, this is the lesson that we are on. So yes, we're in like week 5, but we're only in week 3 here because we got so behind in the very beginning. You have this warm-up, right? There's all these different warm-ups here. And then you have an activity, and then you have your workbook, right? So warm-up, all of this is warm-up, right? And then you get to your activity here. And then you have another activity, and then you have a workbook, okay? That, I don't know how anybody does that in less than like 25 or 30 minutes. That is so much math. And in order for us to be efficient with our time and not turn the biggest bulk of our learning into math, because we have 3 core subjects. Our 3 core are phonics, math, and Spanish. I needed to cut down on what we were doing in math while still getting solid math education. So I'm doing that in 2 ways. The first way I'm cutting down on how long Math with Confidence takes is that I'm taking out a lot of the warm-up games. Unless it's something short, like count to 50 by 2s and point them on the numbers chart, that's great. Pull out the 100 chart, we can do that really fast and then zip into the lesson. That's fine, and I'm incorporating that anyway. But if it's a more complicated game that's meant to reinforce a previous concept like number war, where you have your numbers 1 to 20 and whoever has the largest gets to win, and you're practicing that number sense, that's great. But for me to set that up for my twin 6-year-olds, that whole endeavor is a 10-minute endeavor. So before we even get to the actual lesson part, we've done 10 minutes of warm-up. And that just is not an efficient use of our time. I am now using both the first grade Math with Confidence workbook. That's what this is. So it's the workbook, and these workbook pages are double-sided, right, per lesson. So they're getting a little bit more as the kids get a little bit older. And the old Math with Confidence kindergarten workbook. Now, we only got through about 2/3 of this. Around week 20, we fell off. Now, there's a couple weeks in here we went back and did a few of the worksheets, but we just fell off with the worksheets. That was for us at the beginning of May of last year, and that's when my dad went into hospice, basically, and he passed in mid-June. So I just was doing the bare minimum, and worksheets was not in my wheelhouse at all. I didn't care. So I have about 15 back and front worksheets still, maybe a little bit less than that, maybe like 12 back and front worksheets from Math with Confidence kindergarten for each girl. And then I have, of course, these, and there were several from the first 2 weeks that we didn't do because it was review and the girls knew the content pretty well. Because I have a glut of these worksheets, we're going to start doing worksheets as the warm-up. That is how we're going to be practicing our review and reinforcing our skills, at least for the next month or 2, maybe this semester. We'll see if the system is sustainable once we get into a lot of new material. But my plan is we will start with a worksheet and then maybe a simple counting game, right? Maybe simple, like let's count to 20 by 2s and just do that. Then we will do the actual lesson. We'll get the number line out, or we'll get the counting sheet out, or whatever it is with the Black Line Masters, and we will do the actual assigned activity that teaches the lesson. So in this case, if we're looking at lesson 3.3, many ways to make 10, right? The many ways to make 10 would be on the number line here, the 10 frame here, and then also with the 10 mat. And we would do this, right? We would do just this lesson and maybe even augment it to make it a little bit shorter. Then we would probably skip this reinforcement go fish, make 10 go fish. We will skip that, and if I feel like they need the reinforcement that day on a concept, particularly if it's like a brand new concept, we'll do the worksheet. If not, we'll save the worksheet and do it as a warm-up the next morning. Now, you might be saying the part of the reason that we do Math with Confidence is because of the games. There are so many games. You're right. And it is a great program to have games. We do game schooling, and I'm going to be making tabs so I can come back and find these games, and we can play them on Thursday afternoons when we come home from Park Day, or on Fridays when we come home from co-op and we're doing game school. I will use math games, but I don't need to do them during our math chunk because I found that it was making the day really long. So last week when we were working through everything, we were finally getting into our flow. I saw that there were 2 areas where we were really dragging. And one of those was Spanish for us. The other place that we were dragging was math. Math was just kicking our butt as far as taking us 30 minutes, 30 minutes to get through a single lesson. And when you only have 2 students and you are trying to only have 3 hours of sit-down table work, 30 minutes is a huge chunk of your 3 hours, right? That is a huge chunk. It's like 20% of your 3-hour time chunk. And so I was just like, this is not an efficient use of our time. The girls are getting kind of wiggly. They don't want to do the activities. The only activity they like to do is shopping. if we do the shopping game. And that's, then reining them back in to do anything afterwards is impossible. They just want to keep playing the shopping game. And that's something else I was noticing is once we started playing some of these open-ended games, they don't want to go stop the game to go learn phonics or whatever comes next. So for us, we're going to do either a simple counting warm-up and or one of our worksheets as the review kind of warm up. Then we're going to do the actual activity lesson, and we are going to skip the reinforcement game or activity and save that if we feel like we need the reinforcement, or just exit completely and move through it that way. This, I think, makes it probably a lot more similar to things like Right Start. I haven't used it, but where you have just the lessons and the games are a totally separate component that you add at will. I think that's going to make things a lot easier. The other thing that I am going to be doing is I am going to be adding into our morning basket some math drills. So I'm going to be adding in a variety of cards that have like the addition facts 0 to 5 in different combinations, although we're feeling pretty confident in those, but we'll start there. And then addition facts 6 to 10, and then we'll do addition facts 11 to 15, and then 16 to 20, until the girls can get 1 through 20, really being able to look at and say, okay, 7 and 3 is 10, right? 5 and 2 is 7, those sorts of things. So this is the bulk of our math, right? We're going to be doing an augmented version of Math with Confidence, where we do either a super simple warm-up or a worksheet as the warm-up, the lesson, and then move on. And I think we can do that in under 15 minutes, right? That can be our 15 minutes of math 3 days a week with reinforcement through math games either Thursday or Friday, or even on the weekends, to be honest with you. So that's one part, but there is one more part. There is one more part to our math journey that I want you to see, and that is we are doing Life of Fred. Now, Life of Fred for me is more of a logic workbook, but it is a reinforcement of our math skills. Now, right now, as of the filming of this, we have made it to chapter 7. We're a third of the way through Apples, and we're doing about 2 to 3 lessons a week right now. I only purchased this a couple of weeks ago, and I just ordered the next 2 or 3, the next 3 in the series. So I have butterflies, cats, and dogs. My plan is for us to finish probably butterflies and cats before the end of this year based on their interest, but it could just be one other book, and that's fine too. This is supplemental. We're not going to replace our Math with Confidence with Life of Fred, but my daughters love Life of Fred. They request to do a lesson with Fred. They're like, Mama, can we read some Fred? For them, it doesn't feel like math. It just feels like a really interactive story. And my plan is that we are going to work through Life of Fred. When we get to a concept that is way far beyond where we are, we might pull back, or we won't. We can let Fred expose them to math concepts. One of the things I really like about Life of Fred, and if you want me to do a review of my initial thoughts, please let me know. But I like the fact that Fred is introducing them to higher order math from the beginning. So this is lesson 6. And Fred, if you don't know, is a 5-year-old genius who teaches at a university. And these are his notes for teaching math. And if you can't read that, it says, everyone knows that 3 plus 4 equals 7, 3 ducks plus 4 ducks equals 7 ducks, and he's got some funny drawings. And so this is algebra, 3x plus 4x equals 7x, right? The girls are being introduced to that, and it's like not intimidating. They just didn't blink an eye at that. They're like, oh, okay. And I remember getting to the place in math where there were letters in my math and having a panic attack about it. They're going to be introduced to that as a concept well, they were 5 when we read that chapter, right? At 5. So I really think that combining our core math being Math with Confidence, that's very experiential, where they are physically putting things on the 10 frame, they are physically putting things on a number line, they're physically manipulating things, right? I think that this combined with this as a supplemental math to give them, a different approach is going to be key. We love Fred. Fred has been just monumental. We just request Fred. One of my daughters, we were having some playtime, and one girl was, I think she was painting, and the other twin came up to me and she said, Mama, can we do Fred together? And I was like, well, do you want to wait for Sissy to come and do it so we can do it together? And she's like, no. And I was like, well, she'll need to read this chapter. You have to read each chapter in order. She's like, okay, I'll do it twice. I'll do a math lesson twice. What? What strange magic is that? So, Life of Fred, I'm telling you, man, Life of Fred is great. It is reinforcing basic math concepts. I don't think it's enough. I think you need a manipulative math program to be effective. But as a supplement, if you had, any kind of worksheet based math, or any kind of really simple math that wasn't super experiential like this, right? You could probably pair it really well. I can't say for certain because I haven't used it extensively, but we do own Math Mammoth, the digital. I think you could probably pair these two really well, where you paired the kind of concepts that Fred is teaching with Math Mammoth. Anyways, that's beside the point. We are going to be moving forward with first grade Math with Confidence, dropping the games at the front end and the back end and focusing on simple warm-ups, worksheets as a review in the beginning, and then teaching the concept. If we feel like we need a review at the end, we will do a worksheet then as well. And then planning on doing at least 2 lessons of Fred a week, more as a logic, fun, reinforcement, supplemental kind of math, giving them a different approach to math. Now, let me tell you something. If we get to a place where either this is no fun, then we'll pause it, or if we get to a place where this is really entertaining and the girls are actually engaged with this, but this isn't, I'm happy to pause Math with Confidence and find whatever supplements I need to make Fred enough. So, I'm going to do what we need. But as of right now, we've done this for a couple weeks, right? Where we have been doing the augmented Math with Confidence, and that has seemed to go really well. Now we're in stuff that they already mostly know. They just need refreshers on. Like, we haven't drilled the 6 to 10 math facts yet. So I'm not really worried about it, right? We are just finishing week 3, moving into week 4, even though we've been homeschooling now for going on 6 weeks, right? So we're behind because we got so sick, and I'm okay with that. There's only 30 weeks, maybe 32 weeks of lessons here. We've got plenty of time, but I'm going to try this for the rest of the semester. I mean, that's really my goal. Unless we find that we're really behind or we're not getting our concepts down, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of the semester. I'll give you a check-in in a few weeks to let you know how this change is going. And then let me know if you want me to do a deeper dive into the Life of Fred as supplemental, because I think it's great. All right, y'all, that is what I've got for you. Let me know if you have any comments. Have you done any augmenting with Math with Confidence? I'd love to know. Especially if you are like me, you're in those early elementary years, have you been able to work with Math with Confidence to get it to be a little bit more efficient? What are your tips and tricks? Or are you using a different math curriculum? I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you're using a different math curriculum. And if you like Life of Fred too, let me know. If you are a Life of Fred family, like we have become a Life of Fred family, I would love to know that too. All right, y'all, it is actually the middle of the night. I woke up with some crazy insomnia, so I decided to film a math video. What is my life? I don't even know. So until the next video, I'm going to go to bed and